broadcast network, AfterBuzz TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AfterBuzz TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing after-shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Good evening, AfterBuzzers. We are here at the AfterBuzz TV studios discussing everything American Horror Story Season 4. I'm your host for the evening, David Schifilliti, joined by my beautiful and talented co-host, Sarah Huggins.
Hello.
Jillian Leff.
Hi, guys.
And Pegah Rad. So we were supposed to be live on YouTube tonight, and we are not, so I'm going to tell you why we're not. Because of technical difficulties. It's not that exciting, but I just wanted to let you guys know what happened here at the AfterBuzz TV studios.
Yeah, and hopefully in the new year, we'll be able to have that for you guys.
Yeah, so
Sounded
look
fun.
out for that, and it will happen eventually. We're here tonight talking episode 10, titled Orphans.
Ooh.
Talk to me. You guys,
I
just
have a lot
say
to
it.
say.
Go ahead, Sarah.
I think, okay, I just want to start out by saying I thought the story was very sweet that they told tonight.
Yes, it
Do I
was.
feel like it was relevant to anything that happened before or will happen since? No.
Okay.
I think it was a very unnecessary episode.
All right.
I feel like it was only put in so that they could kind of show off the tie that they kept, like Ryan Murphy kept teasing about the seasons being tied together.
So do you feel that without this episode, let's say this episode did not happen, Sarah, you wouldn't have missed out on any of the stuff that we saw tonight?
Absolutely. Don't care at all.
See, I have to disagree. This wasn't my favorite episode, but they did tell us things that we do need to know moving forward.
Yes.
You know, obviously the whole exchange between Maggie and Desiree and
Wait,
finding out.
I'm not talking. Okay, I want to clarify. I'm not talking about the episode as a whole because I do agree
Okay.
with that, and I do think that there was some points of it that yes,
But
you
just
need
thought
to-
for the
overall.
main part,
Overall, the main part was the whole Pepper storyline, and I did not think that needed to be told.
Pegah?
That I will clarify.
I liked having a break. I love Dandy, don't get me wrong. He is my favorite, but I love the break.
Yeah, me
I
too.
loved just stepping back from him for a little bit because it just seems so redundant after a while. Like, okay, he's killing. Okay, he's on a rampage. Okay, like, I like the break. It was kind of like start over, refresh a little bit, and then a lot of planting seeds. Woo, almost left my word. Planting seeds for the next episodes coming up.
right. But, you know, overall, for a winter finale, it was a bit of a downer.
I feel like it had a lot of heart.
It did have a lot of heart, and I want to talk about all that. So
Yeah, I mean, we could just talk about it right off the bat because I think
Let's
that's the
jump
most
into
exciting
it.
part of the episode.
It
but
was the most exciting part of the
you
episode.
know, finding out like all of Pepper's backstory. First of all, Naomi Grossman as an actress, like
Killed it.
she
Yeah.
saved she
I mean,
saved
she
the
was
episode
amazing.
for me
She did,
because other than Pepper, everything else as we said was pretty. It was fine, but finding out Pepper's backstory, I loved it, and I thought that although maybe not necessary, I am glad that we found out, and as we know, this will not be the only connection to past seasons. It's just the first one.
Right.
So as a first connection to a past season, I thought it was done very sweetly. And we found out not only about Pepper, but about the people connected to Pepper, including Elsa. What did you guys think of Elsa's connection to her? Because I didn't think it ran that deep.
I didn't either, and I'm going to tell you this. So we start off the episode, and Elsa is sort of narrating the entirety of Pepper's story.
Right.
Because as we know, Pepper doesn't have speech.
Right.
And Salty has just died, and Pepper's upset. And, you know, we saw this connection between Elsa and Mon Petit that we knew, and it was in our faces that Elsa loved Mon Petit, and that was her
Who wouldn't?
baby.
She's adorable.
I mean, she is adorbs. So cute. And we never really saw that connection with Pepper. But from what we found out tonight, she felt for Pepper even more.
Here's my beef with it.
Uh-huh.
felt like that
You
part was really
soulless wench.
no. I really liked it. I don't want to get beaten up in the comments, but I'm just saying that if we had any sort of tease to that relationship being there before, but I feel like she was irrelevant this entire time, and then all of a sudden, no, she's really a big deal, you guys, was kind of like,
You feel like it was a cop-out?
yeah, I just felt like they all of a sudden like needed to make it seem like she was a bigger deal than she was so that they could show the connection, like I said. So they made up that whole thing on the fly, and I just don't, I felt like I noticed that.
Well, here's where I got confused, and I don't know if you guys remember this, but I thought I remember earlier on in this season that Salty and Pepper were brother and sister. I feel like someone said that they were both found in the orphanage clutching each other.
Me too.
I kind of remember that comment.
And
but I
that
don't
they were
remember.
brother and sister.
Yeah.
See, I didn't remember that. I remembered Pepper's backstory from, like, I remember hearing the flashback to season 2 where they were talking about how she killed a baby and all of that stuff, and she was solo by herself.
Right.
I never put 2 and 2 together, but also I never realized that they were lovers. I just thought that they were.
I never realized that they were lovers either, and I feel like that was such a beautiful moment when they showed us them getting married
That
and
was
how
sweet.
Pepper longed for a family, and Mon Petit was sort of brought in to be the child, and Elsa was just the godmother, which was beautiful. What?
Okay,
Pegah?
here's my issue.
Sorry.
See, I'm not.
Was it the Dr. Pepper thing?
No, no.
Because that was.
Yeah,
That
was
David's favorite part.
So effed up, but I love me some Zacks of Pepper.
Okay, so with Elsa, like we see her caring so much about some of these freaks and then not caring at all and being kind of heartless with the other ones and pretending like okay, for example, Pepper loved her, you know, cared for her as like a daughter.
Yes.
Mon Petit loved her, but then the twins loved her or not? I mean,
But they're a threat to her.
Yeah.
they're a
When
threat
the
to
others
her.
aren't.
Okay. What about Ethel? Like,
Not a threat to her.
Not
Not
a
a
threat, but she
threat,
did
but
love
still-
Ethel.
Yeah.
I mean, in the end, she did, you know, it was sort of like fight or flight, and she took her own.
yeah, so it's like I don't
Sorry, I'm
trust
thinking.
Elsa. Like, you know, she's always saying like she loves these freaks, but then
And
do
she
we
did
really...
say it in this episode that she mothered
Pepper.
these people. No, all of
Oh,
them
all
in
of them.
general. She
Okay.
said that she tried to be the best mother that she could, and you know, she is only human, so you know, mothers make mistakes.
Yeah.
Well, I did like also hearing the story of her sort of come up and how she found most of her people
Yeah.
and sort of the shift in the world and how she decided that she was going to be a part of a freak show because we found out she was just a part of a circus.
Yeah.
And that really
Right.
wasn't working for her. And I did appreciate, you know, unpeeling another layer of Elsa's onion because I feel like there's still so much we don't know about her.
Yeah.
And we're almost done.
I feel like as far though as the story is concerned, everything that happened with Maggie and Desiree and Stanley, that was very relevant. All the Pepper stuff, except for maybe the like slight glimpse at the very end of something else, it did not move forward the story whatsoever. Like I was just kind of like, okay, like what is the point of
Do
this?
we think that Pepper is done now?
Yes.
Well, she would have
Absolutely.
to be done for this season. I mean,
She's
there's
done.
no reason for
Yeah.
to bring her back at this point because Elsa did drop her off at her sister's, and then we did jump forward in time. I mean, that was a huge aspect of this episode tonight was
Right.
jumping back in time, jumping forward in time, being in the present, but the present's sort of a flashback in the future. I mean, it was a little
Yeah, it was all over the place.
Yeah.
all over the place and confusing. But
Yeah,
you
you're
know,
right.
I loved
Dunzo.
Pepper's story, and I feel like it's one of the not so central characters that we've gotten because of one episode gotten to know so much about her in this one episode, and that's never been done before in another character's or another season's backstory of a secondary character.
And I also feel like
I would just maybe disagree with you about that. I wouldn't say that's fact.
I would.
Okay. All right. I have to
would you
think.
say Twisty? We learned a lot about his backstory.
I was gonna
he
say
didn't
there
have-
has been a lot of characters I feel like where they have singled them out.
They have singled them out, but they've never gone so far into depth. I mean, I guess because they are this character is a bridge between two different seasons.
Well, I was going to say, I thought it was rather surprising how much time they spent on her this episode because we know so much about her from season 2.
Right.
I just figured that they were going to make the connection to Sister Mary Eunice much faster.
As did
and
I.
maybe not focus about the connection that her and Elsa shared, because I do think in the grand scheme of things that isn't going to matter. What matters is that Elsa dropped her off at her sister's house, and all of the falling action from that moment on is sort of what made Pepper who she is today, or who she was then in the asylum.
Right.
So,
But if you think about it as a whole, every character is sort of seeking out a family, which is why I sort of thought that tonight's episode titled Orphans was very appropriate, because everyone's looking for a family. And this is sort of Pepper's journey through her family. So she was in an orphanage where Elsa found her. And I thought it was hilarious that because she was 18, they just let them walk out together.
Yeah.
Because she can't be adopted. You're 18, you're out of the system. And then so she has her family in the Freakshow, and she gets Salty as a husband, and Mon Petit is her baby. And then she moves to her real family, which is her sister and I guess her brother-in-law, and then they have a child, baby Lucas.
Which, though, you have to admit, and this kind of goes back to what you were saying, Pegah, like, when Elsa drops her off with the sister, she can tell that is not going to be a good situation. The sister said, like, my husband is not going to like this. Like, this is really bad. And Elsa was just like, yeah, well, she's yours to take care of now. Sorry, sister. Like, I mean, and
Well,
so...
Elsa was upset about leaving her there.
Okay.
but
then
she
she
knew.
wouldn't have
But
left
she
her.
knew. I mean,
knew.
but you know,
Yeah.
Elsa, again, is looking out for herself. But then, again, with the family thing, so after she leaves her sister and her brother-in-law's house and goes to the asylum, she sort of finds a family in Sister Mary Eunice and the people at the asylum.
Right.
So it sort of is relevant to the story that we're telling. Whether or not it's relevant if we want to see it or not is a whole
I think
other
that
story.
the most disappointing thing is we have 2 weeks of a break now before the
Right.
show comes back. I was expecting something explosive. I was expecting something that I could talk with my friends about tomorrow.
Right.
And there's
Like,
really nothing to talk
No.
about.
I mean, the NPHTs, which we can
Yeah,
get into later.
I want to talk about Neil Patrick Harris. That's about it. I'm
Right.
like,
Right.
okay. I mean, I don't know if everyone else felt that way, but I just was not that I was expecting death, but I was expecting something like bigger, like maybe
Yeah.
Stanley finding out that Maggie told Desiree. Like, I
Right.
would have loved to see some of that, and just nothing.
Or if they ended it on the note where they found out that the lobster claws are chopped off.
Yeah.
and,
Right.
Like, she
That would've been
faints,
fine.
Cue credits, boom. Like, that
Yeah,
would've
and she
been
thinks he died.
better.
That would have
Yeah.
been a good ending, but you know,
Yeah.
I feel like it's par for the course with this season. I mean, I've said it before. I don't know if to you guys. I don't know if I've said it on air before, but I feel like this season is sort of lacking, and I find myself from week to week not remembering what happened in the previous episode. So it's not a lot of things are sticking in my brain.
Well, because there is so much. Like,
There
I was
is so
thinking about it
much.
because we talked a lot about it. Yeah. I believe,
We've
like,
talked
off
about
air.
it on length.
Like, with last season, and, you know, I hate to, like, you know, compare it, but you have to. That was such a simple story. Who is the Supreme? And, like, that was what was running the whole time. This one, if you asked me to give you a log line, couldn't do it. Can't
Yeah,
tell you what the main story of this is. I thought it was the clowns, not the clowns. You know, is it now Dandy the serial killer? I don't know. Like, is it Elsa making it big? I don't know.
Maybe if it was one murderer throughout the entire season, like it
Right.
was with season 2.
Right.
That's true.
Yeah, like maybe we could enjoy it more, follow it better, but it just seems like they're being very liberal with just killing off people.
Yeah.
At this point now, I feel like there's gonna be nobody left at the end. Who's going to be left? Obviously, Elsa is going to be
Theo
left.
Huxtable.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
He's the only one left.
Oh my God.
Angus.
How'd you go there?
Surprise! I was watching the episode. I
Surprise.
was watching last week's episode at home during lunch today, and I was like, oh, Desi, you dirty, dirty girl.
Desiree has a bow.
I know.
And it's Theo Huxtable. And you know what? I don't know his character name. And I don't know his real name.
I wrote it
Angus.
down, so
Oh,
I
right,
wouldn't
thank
call
you.
him Theo Huxtable.
What's the actor's name?
Malcolm Jamal Warner.
There we go.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So he's her lover.
I think he's just infatuated with her. He saw her flopping them toddies around on stage.
I'm
and
just
was-
like, at this point, this late in the game, you're on episode 9, you only have 13 episodes. Why are we introducing new characters?
Right. We have too many.
We have too many already, and I know that we've killed off a lot of people, and I know now Pepper's gone. It's just like...
Oh, no, this is episode 10. We only have 3 more episodes.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We only have 3 left.
Yeah.
And we don't need to get to know another new person.
Yeah.
Desiree doesn't have to have another lover. I
Because they
don't
haven't
care.
really wrapped up. I mean, like, even in this episode, she, with what's his name, Del, was just like, yeah, okay, we're over. And it's like, really? Like, I don't know. There was like a lot that was there at the beginning. I thought that was going to be like one of the central storylines with like Del and Jimmy and that whole thing. And now it's kind of like, well, Jimmy's in jail, so whatever. We don't care about those people anymore. And it's like, like I just don't know where my heart is supposed to go. Please
Although,
tell me.
I do have to say Desiree had some pretty fantastic one-liners this episode.
Yeah,
Amazing.
so good.
She was
Clean all of that shit up.
Best line ever.
done?
Are you
Like-
done? Now clean all of this shit up.
And she looked all sweet at the beginning. She was like all
Reading her the
about-
Velveteen Rabbit.
Yeah.
Oh, and while we're talking about lines in episodes, I felt like when Maggie said, "Go to hell, triple tits," that was this season's surprise, bitch.
Yeah.
I'm back.
Or
yeah.
crotchless panties for
Oh,
everyone.
yeah, crotchless panties.
That was a good
I
one.
mean, okay, so who do we consider as a villain right now? Because we're saying all these characters are being introduced for no reason.
Stanley.
Stanley's the villain.
Dandy.
Stanley and Dandy.
Stanley
but
and Dandy.
But who's the main villain is the question of the day.
I feel like
And-
Stanley is a bigger threat than Dandy.
Oh.
To some people, to
I
certain
would say
people.
Stanley to the whole freak show
Yes.
as a whole, but then Dandy maybe to Jimmy or
Right.
To the world.
to the world. To
Well, because he's kind of like
Tupperware-wise.
unleashed, yeah, and you never know like what you're gonna get out of
Right.
him. Yeah.
So it's like, are they introducing these new characters to expose new threats? Or, I mean, I guess
But
we'll
you'd
see.
have to think about, like, why expose a new threat in episode 9?
Well,
I
they're
mean-
about to expose a new threat in episode 10 or episode 11 because
I know, which we will get to.
Yeah.
But it's, like, making me angry.
Yeah.
Okay? And you know who else is angry?
who?
Maggie. Maggie is...
She's a woman scorned.
She is a woman scorned, Hunty.
She could not get enough of those lobster hands.
She couldn't. She is in love, and, you know, she's sort of dealing with, I guess the death of her love the same way that Jimmy dealt with death by drinking,
Yeah, that's true.
right?
But he still loves her.
Did we figure out, is Jimmy in love with Maggie or with Ima Wiggles?
No, he's
Oh,
in love
no.
with Maggie.
It's
He is-
definitely
no.
Maggie,
Yeah.
not
Maggie?
I'm a wiggle.
Yeah.
He had
Okay.
some beer goggles on.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean,
Whiskey
the way he was
Whiskey
feeding her
goggles.
that pudding was
Ew.
like,
Oh, God.
Which, by the way, hey, Ima, where are you? Nowhere
Yeah.
to be found.
No.
Nowhere
I
to
mean,
be found.
that's what I'm saying. Like, that's the thing with this season is that they'll introduce a new character, they'll be around for a couple episodes, and then they'll disappear.
Right. And it's like, I get it, but I was right about Cabaret Sidibe. She bit the dust.
she was
Really
exactly-
quickly.
And
You
it was
were right.
pointless.
But,
So-
you know, so Maggie is angry. She's ready to take out her anger on the world. And
She's drinking.
She's drinking, and Theo and Desiree come to her to get a reading.
Well, yeah. We're just-
That's his name.
we have to do it.
We have to do it. So he comes to get a reading, and she sort of, I guess, pulls the wool off of their eyes
And
Yeah.
it's like, look.
and
Because-
enlightens them, I guess, and is like, everything's a crock of shit and it's all gonna fall to hell in a handbasket.
Right.
Which is what we all want to hear when we're first falling in love, right?
Yeah. You know.
I know I do.
A little dose of reality.
A little dose of reality never hurt anybody.
She's doing something that us girls like to call projection. She's projecting herself on someone
Well,
else.
Desiree calls her out on that. Good for you catching in on that. Desiree calls her out on it, and Maggie's sort of like, I'm not a fortune teller. I'm not a
I
long
was
grift with Stanley.
I was surprised, though, how candid she got
my
right
drunk.
off the bat.
I think it has to do with the trust thing. Like, I think finally, after being with the freaks for a prolonged amount of time, I think she trusts them and she feels like they are more family than Stanley is because I think she fears Stanley.
Yeah,
Right?
you
Do
don't
you guys
know what
feel that
he's
way?
going to do.
Totally.
Yeah.
I don't know that she necessarily fears him, but we got her backstory as well tonight. And I feel like she has a sense of loyalty to him for taking her off the streets and giving
Right.
her a home and feeding her and keeping her
Paying
dry
her
and
more, yeah.
clothing her and giving her money. You know, I mean, for a street rat. I had an Aladdin moment in my head. I'm sorry.
I was thinking more Newsies.
Santa Fe.
I had a Aladdin moment.
Okay.
It's okay. The opening number.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Sorry,
I'm singing the whole
singing it in
song
my
in my
head.
head.
Take a few bars.
And those things, they're hard to come by. And if someone's gonna take you under their wing and show you, the long con,
You must be loyal.
you have to be
And it's
loyal.
gotten a little bit out of control.
It has gotten a little bit out of control.
Yeah,
But-
I mean, now that she's in love, and it's like, what's Stanley gonna do to my love? It's
Well, I think it's gotten out of control on his end because he knows her hesitation in all of this. I mean, she was supposed to kill Mon Petit and she just
Yeah.
couldn't do it.
Right.
But instead of hurting her, he decided to go to someone else to do the job. So I don't even know where they stand at this point. I feel like they're both so on edge. I'm concerned about what she's going to do.
Well, how do you think what Stanley's feelings are towards Maggie? I mean, how does he look at her?
like a pawn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a
just
pawn?
Yeah.
Also, we
She has
haven't
a cute
seen.
little face. She's pretty. She can kind of get in and
She
get
has to
close
do what he
with
says.
the freaks.
Okay, yes, I see all that, but I sort of feel like Stanley looks at her like a daughter.
I don't see that.
You don't?
He's too heartless for that.
Yeah, I don't see that either.
Zero heart. The only reason he took her in was to use her, to
use her,
get
yeah.
money to.
He's never
work
been like
together.
very fathery towards her. I don't think.
If anything, she's been looking out for him. I remember
Yeah.
that one scene where she found his like gay porn. She was like, "You need to put this away. Like, this is not okay.
Good
If
point.
people find out, So I feel like she's looking out for him, and she's also being like showing him that these things are wrong. These are people. She's trying to talk him out of these things.
Right, she has a
and all
conscience.
he's seeing are dollar signs.
Yeah.
So I feel like he knows that she's gone rogue.
yeah.
He just doesn't know how to handle her yet because he's too concerned about working with Elsa right now.
and
So
he
are
doesn't
you-
see her as a threat, I don't think.
No, I don't think he sees her as a threat. So do you
Right.
think that at the first chance that he gets, he's going to ditch her?
I just don't know if she's really part of his equation. I feel like
Anymore or in general?
anymore.
Do we know if she was given any money for any of this stuff that he's brought in?
We don't. And
No.
it's not something that's been discussed. I mean, the first thing we find out is how much he got for Mon Petit's body,
Yeah.
which was
Yeah.
$3,000, which was shocking to me.
It's like, what has she actually done to earn
well,
any money?
I guess she gets, she
well,
said
she got him in.
she gets
there.
10 cents on the dollar.
Right.
So, I mean, I guess we can sort of figure out the math for ourselves.
Yeah, but I don't know if she's actually accepting the money.
Right. We don't. We have
Because
no idea.
she's never, there's never been a shot of her just like,
Yeah.
Making it rain?
yeah, I mean, obviously there were, Mon Petit, Salty, and now Jimmy's hands.
Well, and she didn't know about
she didn't know
Jimmy's
about
hands.
Jimmy's
And
hands.
she didn't know about Salty's head.
Yeah.
Right. I feel like as soon as she couldn't, give them Mon Petit, he was over her. He's like, I'm just going to take matters into my
Right.
own hands.
So maybe she's not part of his equation anymore. And maybe
Yeah.
she's just sort of, he's let her go. And like, as soon as he's done with his job, he's going to move on with his life.
Yeah. I mean, I think he knows he's like secure in the fact that he knows she's not gonna like give him up, or well, so he thought, so he's not like over, because that would be the only reason I feel like he would still want to like deal with her, is because if he was afraid of his secret coming out. But he's obviously
His gay
doesn't give-
secret?
No,
No,
his like
his
what
killing
he's
the
doing.
freak
Oh.
secret.
Yeah.
But not to mention, like, I think the thing that we need to keep in mind is when Maggie was talking to Desiree, she left a really important part out of the story, which was, I have something to do with this too.
Right.
I was helping him.
But she said, I'm not a fortune teller.
Well, yeah.
like,
Well, she said she's a con artist and she's been picking pockets. And then when she brought Desiree to the thing, she's like, I need you to see this just so you have visual proof. But she, to me, has left out the part where she went to the freak show to specifically kill freaks and never to pick pockets.
Well, I feel like showing Desiree the Museum of Oddities and where Mon Petit is now and where Salty's head is, and I guess where Jimmy's hands were, which she was surprised about, is sort of admitting, because she's already said that she's in cahoots with Stanley, that she had a part
This is the
in
bigger
this.
picture.
But she is also saying, she did also tell Desiree that she wants the real villain to be exposed.
right. And she believes that's him.
And she believes that is Stanley.
Because can you imagine if she tried to explain that? Like, it's so much better.
How do you
show.
explain that? It is so much better to show
Show and
somebody.
Right? Show and not tell.
All your friends are in jars.
Yeah.
Like Oriana likes to say,
Right.
show us, don't tell us.
Oh, Oriana. Oriana is in New Zealand right now.
On her
Whatever.
honeymoon.
Yeah.
Whatever, you stupid Kiwi.
Oh, love.
Just kidding. I love people from New Zealand. I'm just jealous.
Oh, man.
So what else,
Well,
guys?
But you know, that was a really good moment for me when the museum director is sort of like, and this is our newest acquisition, and
Yeah.
and Desiree's sort of like stroking the jar where Salty's head is in, and
I don't, while we're talking about the jars, just I know this has to do with predictions, but I feel like we're predicting this entire episode. Do we think that Jimmy is alive or dead?
Alive.
Alive.
Jimmy's alive. Wait.
So how did he cut his hands in a jail cell?
Through the bars.
But then what happened? He's bleeding on the other side. He would bleed out if both of his hands were chopped off.
Tourniquet first.
Tourniquet.
You've thought about
I'm
this.
sure.
Yeah.
Psycho. I'm sitting next to you.
Tourniquet.
No, but that's the
Hello.
first thing I thought. I'm like, all right, if he's alive, like they really had to prep this thing.
They would have had to prep it unless the cops were like, yeah, sure, go in, cut his hands off. What do we care?
Yeah, but then they still have to save his life after.
Do they? What do they care? They killed Meep.
I know, but I feel like he's alive.
He's definitely alive.
Yeah.
He has to be alive.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
don't feel like
He's just handless now.
right. Ugh, is he gonna have like hooks for hands?
Hopefully.
Maybe. Oh, maybe the same guy who made Elsa's legs can make him some arms and hands.
How would he operate these hands?
Well, same way they operate legs, right?
No.
No, you need to be able to move fingers.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's probably cut here. So we've seen, handless.
Yeah.
Handless.
There was a handless man on
in the
this
beginning of the episode.
Yes.
I don't know. I'm on the fence about it because I
think
feel
he's
like
alive.
I don't know. Wouldn't it? Well, I guess because the Dandy storyline hasn't been tied up.
No.
Exactly.
And he's still like, the twins come to
That was
Maggie. You thought it was weird? Okay, so the twins come to Maggie.
Just random.
And I'm going to tell you why it's not random.
Yeah, I know it's
And
not
give
random.
her money to get a lawyer. They're like, take care of this, you dumb slut, basically.
Yeah.
And find a lawyer.
Reminds me of How I Met Your Mother. There's
Really?
That, yeah, side note. There was like that when J-Lo guested. Does anyone?
No one cares about that show. We're not here to talk about that.
But when she guested, she had a book that was like, "Would you look at yourself, you dumb slut?" That was
the name of her book?
self-help book.
Oh.
Yeah. Anyway,
Thank you for that.
go ahead.
Side note. And why it isn't out of left field is because the twins love Jimmy.
I know, but I just thought it
And
was like
because
queer.
they think that Jimmy loves the other woman that Jimmy loves
Is Maggie.
So
Well, it is.
they want to help her. They want to help him indirectly.
Yes. It's sort of like an unrequited love thing. They're willing and ready to do anything to save the man that they love, even if he's not going to love them back.
I think
the
it
way
was.
that they want it.
I don't mean it was random and like, oh, what are they doing there? I don't know. I mean like, as in, what does it have to do with this episode? It's not like she took the money and took it and did something with it.
Well, we don't know
We
that
don't
yet.
know that
Not
yet. I mean, she
yet.
might have used that money to get a train ticket up to the Museum of Oddities. We don't know.
Yeah.
She needed to explain herself to Desiree before she did anything because
Yes.
Right.
Desiree was going to kill her.
Ha!
Like
Yeah, she
I saw
was
the
on
fire in her eyes.
Well, she said she didn't know what she was going to
She
do
wanted
yet.
to be with Theo.
She wants to be with Theo, and she wants to learn how to cook a pot roast.
Yeah, but
Give the lady a break.
she had to take care of that first before everything else. And I think that in the back of Maggie's head, she thought this entire time, oh, like we'll bail him out with this money, or we can help him with this money. And
But first, we need to take care of Stanley and get rid of him so that when I get him out, he can be safe.
exactly.
But what she doesn't know is that Stanley went to the jail cell and was like, hey, I'll get you a lawyer.
Yeah. Oh wait, can we talk about the
And
lawyer?
we are going to talk
Oh,
about the
yeah.
lawyer because I
Yeah.
had Sarah look it up.
Oh yeah.
And,
Okay.
Yeah, talk about it because we're talking about it.
So Stanley says he's going to get him, Jimmy, this famous lawyer.
Yeah. Clarence, is it?
And what was the...
It was something. Hold on, now I have.
Sarah's
to
going to
find
look it up. And he says it's the son of this famous lawyer who did the monkey, who won the monkey trial.
right? Which is something to do with the theory of evolution.
Okay, so
it's
tell us.
basically okay. Well, it's long.
So summarize it.
Okay, so basically,
This guy is real.
This is a
This
real
guy
case,
is real.
and
Yes,
the lawyer was
done.
a real lawyer.
I mean, I don't know like what to pick out from this. It's just so long. It
Girl,
has
you
to do
read
with.
this.
I skimmed it and I was trying to watch the show, not look up history while I'm trying to watch.
Okay, so it was the Butler Law, which is what this case was fought against, was a law that was passed in the state of Tennessee in 1925, and it prohibited the teaching the evolution of theory within schools and universities and things like that. And so this case was to fight to be allowed to teach this in schools. And why it was called the monkey case.
Well, it's because of evolution, Darwin's theory of evolution.
It was.
That's
sure, yeah.
Okay.
And I guess because Darwin studied monkeys. I don't know.
Like, it doesn't really, I don't get, like, how that pertains, but okay.
Maybe they just wanted
It's
to
a
mention a
famous
name.
lawyer, you know? I mean,
Yeah.
he's looking for, his name was Clarence Darrow.
Yes, the son of Clarence.
The
Darrow.
son of Clarence Darrow.
Anyway,
Anyway,
Okay.
it was an interesting little side note.
again, bringing real people into the
Into
the
the fictional
situation.
world, yes, which I always appreciate.
I mean, I have to say that, and maybe it's, I mean, going on, like, last episode, I was like this too. Like, I thought he was looking for sexual favors, not his hands, because they made it look like that.
I mean, sort of, but the way that it was shot, he says, he pans back and he says, I don't have anything of value to give you, and his hand is on the wall, and the camera pans back and it focuses
his
in on his
bull.
hand. No, on his hand on the wall.
Ooh.
Sarah Huggins, no. There was no bulge. It was the
no
hand on the
bulge.
wall.
I
Yeah.
saw, like, I don't, the way he was looking at him, like, I don't know.
Yes,
I
the
just-
way he was looking at him was a little sexual creeper. And yes, when it comes to Stanley and men, we're always thinking that he's going to show him his
Okay,
huge
yeah,
dong.
all right.
Yeah.
But clearly, the way that this was shot, this particular scene, he was
Okay,
after
got
his
it.
hands and knowing Stanley
Right.
and what his ultimate goal
No,
is.
that makes sense. But I briefly thought that it was going there for a second.
It's
I don't know.
fine. Your mind works in mysterious ways.
She always thinks it's gonna go there.
Always, no matter
Dude,
who
with
it is.
Dandy and Gloria, that was dead on. That was about to happen. I don't care what anybody says. But anyways.
So Stanley's number one motive is money.
Is
and
money.
then boys.
And then
then-
men.
Yeah.
men.
You know
The
what.
2 M's. Money and men.
I don't know. I
Massacres.
feel like nothing else was
Nothing
really.
else really happened. And the only other interesting thing that happened was when Pepper was in the library of the asylum and she was stacking the magazines.
yeah.
She pulls up a Life magazine
From
from
1958.
1958 because it's
love
what,
all of our-
1962 now. And
reactions.
Elsa's face is on the cover of it, and it says Elsa is still the Friday night vixen or something like that.
1952,
19
as opposed to 1958.
It's 1950, huh? It's 1962.
Right.
Wait, when we started in the Freak Show, wasn't it 1952?
Yes, but
Yes.
Pepper's in 1962.
Okay.
So
great.
a decade later, less than a decade later, Elsa is famous. She does eventually end up on TV.
But how?
But
But we were all
how
like,
is the
what? She
question.
made it? Like, all of us at the
Yes.
same time, we were like, huh?
We were like, she made it. And now here's the other question. Elsa made it. But Jessica Lange plays a character who looks strikingly similar in Asylum.
I know. That's it. Yeah.
Oh.
Sister
do you
Judy.
think?
Sister
Yeah.
Judy.
Maybe.
Do you think she just goes crazy in Hollywood and gets put into the asylum?
Well, she hit
works
somebody
there.
with
Well,
her
she-
car,
Right. Oh my God.
You
but
remember
that
that?
could totally be it.
Oh,
and that's why she
boy.
like she was drinking a lot. It drove her to drink.
I mean, Elsa.
I'd love to see
and-
that.
I'm just
Sister
saying,
Jude.
like,
We're stretching, but
where
we
it's
are.
a stretch. I
not
mean,
that much of a stretch.
It's not that much of a stretch because it's the same person. But do you think that
That could have been
Pepper
her.
would, like,
Well, I don't
connect
know.
the
We were
dots?
already talking about the fact that Elsa is practically a vampire. I mean, how old is she? Like, she's lived like 17 lives.
And so has Pepper. Pepper hasn't aged since she was 18.
If she is Sister Jude, it's like, oh my God. Well, I mean, how many lifetimes can this woman lead? Like,
I think that the biggest reason behind all of that is that everyone else gets a younger actor to play
I
themselves,
know.
and
Yes.
Jessica Lange just like,
Like
Tape it up. Let's do this.
Get me a
She
fuller
looks
wig.
Yeah.
She looks good.
Yeah, she
too.
looks great.
Oh my
She looks
God, her
amazing.
Skin looked
amazing. It was like
Flawless.
glowing.
She's incredible.
do
Aaron,
that.
if you could do
I
that
want
to
to
me,
do that.
if you
like
could
on
make,
nights out, just like tape it up.
yeah.
You need to wear a wig to do that.
Is it
Yeah.
tape?
Mhm.
You tape
Oh, it's
It's
all
tape
taped.
and string and
Ugh.
Yeah,
Like a
David.
puppet?
David told us
teach you
about
how to
this.
do
Yeah.
Oh, I
Yeah.
didn't realize.
yeah.
Yeah,
RuPaul likes to call it a system of weights and pulleys, and you put tape in the places that you want to lift, and then there's strings that are attached to the
You
tape,
just
and
tie
then
'em.
they pull it back and tie it behind, which is why you need to wear a wig to
I want
hide
to do
the
that
strings.
and see what it looks like.
It'll
Alright.
look crazy, but we'll do it.
We'll do it.
We'll
Done.
do it.
Well, experiment on the show.
It also pulls out your hair when you take it off,
I'm not gonna do
Not
it.
gonna do it.
and it destroys your
And-
skin.
Okay, great.
Okay, well that was
Yeah,
good.
So anyway,
note.
that was the episode.
That was the episode.
I feel like we have a lot to predict,
yeah,
and maybe
yeah.
not
Talk
so much
about.
news
But
and gossip.
before we jump into that stuff, I do want to talk about, I do hate to compare, and we sort of talked about it earlier on tonight, but the reasoning why we aren't as impressed with this season so far.
Well, tell the people what you did in the past few weeks.
It's not even the past few weeks.
Okay,
It
like
was
the past week.
past,
Last day.
like, few days.
Oh, a few days. So tell them what you
David's
did.
got some time. On his
David
hands.
has time on his hands. So, for those of you who don't know, Coven has been released on Netflix. And so I went back and I rewatched Coven. And the reason why I feel that season 1, Murder House, and season 3, Coven, were so successful as a whole were because those two stories were so focused on one particular main storyline, whereas season 2 and season 4, Asylum and Freakshow, have jumped around so much, and it's sort of confusing to the viewers. I mean, at least to me, and I find myself to be, just a regular viewer. I mean, granted, we're watching with a critical eye, but even going back and not watching with a critical eye, I find season 2 insanely difficult to watch because I can't follow the storyline.
Yeah, it was a big back and forth. I mean, we had the same complaints about Coven. I thinking back, I remember specifically Oriana being like, there was so much information in this episode, and there was so much, and
There was a lot of information given to
just-
us.
It's something that we deal with this show, especially because it's a mini series, so we don't have a full network season order to sort of have everything be flushed out, and it has to be its own little package with a nice bow on it.
Right.
But I do get what you're saying, and I have not rewatched Coven, but I understand.
It only takes a couple days.
Well,
I mean, I think for me, it's like with Murder House and Coven, there was, like you said, that one idea where you get invested in that one idea and everything's moving
We're
towards
like
that one
making
idea.
bets and stuff.
And in Freakshow, as soon as I find myself kind of getting into one storyline, it stops and changes and it focuses on somebody else's storyline. I was like, I was just getting invested in that. Like, it loses you,
Right.
in my opinion.
Yeah.
So,
And it's hard to want to invest in some of these characters, which is why I find myself, investing with one character and being so excited about that character, like this season, Dandy,
Yeah.
and being excited about his storyline. And when he's not there, I'm sort of like, why are we watching this episode?
But it's hard to have all of the there are a lot of
That's
good
why.
characters, and it's hard to have them all right in one episode. You can't, you can't have them all because they're all commanding so much attention. You can't have them all in the same episode. So it's what would you, if you could do this season differently, what would you do? Would you cut some storylines? Would you?
I feel like as much as I love him, you could get rid of the Dandy storyline. It's not central to the plot of the story.
I mean, I hope it eventually becomes central. I feel like they're working like with the connection with Jimmy, I feel like they're working him back into the freak show because he was there in the beginning. He was infatuated by the freaks, and then everything sort of disappeared, and then he got Bet and Dot, and then he went back to killing, and I feel like now he's threatening Jimmy, so he's coming back.
Like, he should have just joined the freak show or, like, run away to the freak show and then been there. And I feel like it would have been better than to have this separation. And then the whole thing with Twisty, it was like we thought that was a big deal. Really, it wasn't. I mean, I know everyone loved him, but, like, sorry, he doesn't matter.
He doesn't.
Like, and it was kind of a waste of time.
I mean, it was a way for Dandy to get introduced to his hobby.
And it was a way for the network to really hype up this season.
Right.
As
Yes.
the scariest
Scary.
season.
It's definitely the most riveting aspect of the show is Dandy's plotline. But maybe Ryan Murphy created so many characters for like the audience to kind of like pick out who you connect most with, and that is this like the common theme of the show is we are all freaks. So what if he's like purposely you know, giving us so many different storylines and so many different characters that like, because if you read the comments on YouTube and all that stuff, it's somebody's always talking about like one person that they really like or one character that they're really latching on to.
No, you're right.
Yeah.
So maybe.
But I feel like if you
was...
did a poll of that, just to play devil's advocate, it'd probably be like the same 5 that everybody talks about.
Yeah, that's true too.
You know, like no one's talking about how they identify with like certain characters. You know, they're just not.
Emma.
Yeah.
So
whatever.
let's move into predictions.
Anyway,
Yes, predictions.
And now, your AfterBuzz
Jazz
TV
hands, Sarah.
predictions.
Okay, so we have 3 episodes left.
You didn't stay for the predictions, did you?
No, I didn't stay for the preview,
Okay. Or
but I am staying for predictions.
I know. Okay. All I was gonna say is, so David and I, now I'm remembering, it was a private conversation. I can't ever remember if it's on air or off, but it was a private conversation that David and I had about what's going to be happening and
With Neil Patrick Harris
with
and
Neil
David
Patrick
Burka.
Harris and David Burka, because we knew that Neil would be in the last 2 and David would be in the last 1. And David was saying that he was scared that
Me, David.
yes, oh you David,
Yes,
not
not
NPH's
Burka.
husband, who you're very jealous of. Anyways,
No, I'm not.
so David was saying, and I don't mean to take up the entire time saying this, but David was saying, like, I hope it's not, because we were like, God, we have so many characters, and I live for Neil Patrick Harris. Like, if he could just stand there, I would be fine with him being on. But he was like, I hope that, like, they're not just having him here to play, like, just some whatever character that, like, is, you know, could be anyone, like, just to, like, basically stunt cast and get you to watch, want to watch this, you know? And based on the preview, I think you're partially right in a sense where, like, he was the entire preview, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It looks like he's
Actually,
basically
it's
taking
trending
over.
on Facebook and Twitter right now.
Yeah,
That's
he's
people are
taking
going
over.
crazy over this.
Right, and I feel like the reason that they did that and the reason why they went to the fall season finale on this episode and are coming back with Neil Patrick Harris is just to get people to watch again.
Well, yeah, and also he was supposed to be on Murder House. He was supposed to be Zachary
Right.
Quinto, right? So
Which
throughout
would have
these
been more appropriate,
years,
I feel like.
he's been wanting to be on the show, and they're trying to figure out with Ryan Murphy, like, so was it more of, I love the show, please put me on?
Well, I do think that his character
Sure.
is fitting because he's playing a magician,
Right.
and Neil is actually a magician,
Yeah.
a member of the Magic Castle in
Amazing.
Hollywood.
Yes.
And so I do like that aspect of it because I'm sure he'll be doing his own magic, which is really exciting.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, like I'm really excited for that. He's
Sure.
obviously taking over the freak show, so that's something also to be excited about. We know that Elsa is sort of making her grand exit, and Neil is sort of taking over and being the new blood and revamping things. I think
So
that he's
maybe
gonna,
Neil
Bet
will
and Dot,
be
he's got a little romantic thing with Bet and
the
Dot.
new savior.
I just feel like what is there to predict? The preview showed everything we need to know. I hope we're still surprised, but we know
No
that.
Dandy really in the preview though, right?
Yes, Pegah.
I predict
Go ahead.
that he's going to magically bring Jimmy's hands back.
Oh.
Oh my God, that would
Can you
be
imagine?
amazing.
He like puts a little like,
Like he's a real magician.
yeah.
Like he's actually
Like, he
a real
has-
one. Out of
yeah.
all those people, he's legit.
He's like a
like a
legit
sorcerer.
warlock. And that's the connection to Kevin.
What's with
Oh
the,
my God,
you
that's so
imagine?
true.
What's with the dolls though?
Oh my god.
The puppets, which is another thing that, again, I am very freaked out by. It was like clowns. Now you're going to go with puppets?
Puppets are really freaky to me, too.
Yeah,
Except for
Dandy,
Muppets.
Dandy has been fascinated with marionettes this entire season.
Well, then maybe there's the connection, David.
Maybe.
I don't know. I feel like we should just, I don't know.
I don't really have
predict.
anything to predict.
Me
yet,
neither.
just-
Like, I'll comment on YouTube when you guys start talking. I want to hear what you have to say because
Yeah.
obviously you rewatched the preview and we ran into here to record the show.
Right. Okay, so one quick fan freak of the week on Twitter at Tom Valentine Art.
Awesome.
Isn't that his name? I think that's his name. Yes.
What did he say that you especially
No, nothing. He's tweeting us all, and he always like he has nice things to say, and he has
very
fun
nice.
Oh, and
artworks
apparently
shit like that.
John, one of our fan freaks, John, tweeted Dennis O'Hare, and
Oh,
Dennis
yeah, I saw
O'Hare
that.
tweeted
Yeah.
at us. So that was awesome.
A
That
good
was
episode
great.
for him, too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a great episode.
It was a great episode.
Very nice.
I'm gonna miss you guys for 2 weeks.
I am gonna miss you guys too. So where can everybody find you?
You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Pegah Rad.
You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Jillian Leff, and you can also find me in the new year on The Fosters on Monday nights.
Ooh, fancy. I'm at Sarah on the Go on Twitter with Sarah with an H, and at SarahBear627 on Instagram.
And you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at You Can Call Me Skiff. So from everyone here at the AfterBuzz TV family, I'm gonna wish you a happy holidays, and we will see you in the new year. Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.